The topic today for is the spiritual wellness, and we'll be exploring with wonderful panelists we have is spiritual wellness, what it is, how it impacts the overall mind-body wellness, individual and group perceptions on spiritual wellness, and also thinking of setting goals in synchronization with our own wellness journeys. So the learning objectives are: what is spiritual wellness, why does it matter for overall wellness, inspiring stories, practice session, and then anything to takeaways from this for our own journeys. Now joining to the panelists, so I invite our panelists. So starting with Iru Puri. So Iru, welcome, and um, share your wisdom or experience with your journey and how the spiritual dimension impacted your sense of being and how you traveled so far.
Yeah, first of all, my heartfelt welcome to our to Rosalind, and my gratitude to ICC for giving us this opportunity to be together. I'm so grateful for this. So thank you so much. Um, Spiritual wellness to me is the wellness of my heart. It is my heart power. To me, spiritual wellness means to have a quiet, peaceful heart so I can be happy and healthy. When I have this quiet, peaceful heart, I have control over my life. The external factors do not bother me. When I feel this peace within me, I'm able to think beyond myself, forget about myself, think about others, how I can serve them, and how I can make them happier and healthier, which I think is the purpose of our life. It also allows me to let go of the human stuff. What do I mean by that? We can have anger sometimes, we can have greed, our ego kicks in, lack of wisdom, jealousy, competition, all sorts of attachments. When I feel this peace within me, it allows me to realize that there is abundance of literally everything. There is no scarcity. So we do not need to be fearful. We do not need to be competitive. When we realize this abundance, and especially one of the main ingredients is the abundance of love, it is there within us, and we can all share with each other. So, once again, that is the heart power. And the more we give, the more we get back. And why does this work? Because love can melt all blockages and transform all life. And in addition, um, to me, spiritual wellness is also practicing forgiveness and gratitude. Because when I do this, I am more aware. And I am also aware that no matter what's happening in my life, I am responsible for it. Nobody else outside of me is responsible. And lastly, it allows me to empower myself. It allows me to feel that power within me that I can use to heal myself, to transform any situation. And it allows me to remember that I have the power to manifest what I want in my life. It's all up to me. This power is within me. So, with that, I thank again everybody for giving me this amazing opportunity to be with everybody. And that is how I would put what spiritual wellness means to me. So thank you so much.
Thank you, Iru. That was pretty powerful and insightful. Thanks for sharing your journey with us. Now, the next panelist, Liz Bullen.
Welcome. Hi, Sachin. Thank you, Iru. That was beautiful. Speaking about the heart, and I absolutely agree with you. And thank you, San and CWC, for having me as a panelist today. I agree also that spirituality is a very personal experience. And for me, it's one of my favorite verticals under the wellness umbrella. A lot of the other ones are a bit more material focused. We need food to nourish our body. We need work and education to nourish our mind. And for me, spirituality is really that opportunity, the time that I take in my life to really nourish my essence, my soul, and my values. It is where I turn to think about those things that inform how I show up in the world. What is powering my light, my strength, my soul, and my grace? And a lot of times when we think about spirituality, we're going to think about it under the lens of religion, which is traditionally that time that we set aside in our daily weeks and our lives to focus on community and charity and connecting with all that is greater than ourselves. And for me, I really see spirituality personally as a practice that lies right below it. It's the conversations that I have with myself about how I show up in those places, how it informs perhaps, what religion I choose, or if it's not religion, wherever I go to seek community building and charity and connection. It's the values, as I mentioned, that's really informing my identity. So that's one part of my spiritual experience and practice. And the second part of it is almost seemingly the opposite. It's that moment when once I have come to an understanding within myself of my values, it's letting go of myself and connecting with a sense of awe for all that is beyond myself, that is greater, that connects all of us. And in that moment, I'm able to detach from myself, but reattach my essence to that mesh that connects all things. And for me, that's a very powerful experience, because when I'm able to sort of dissolve the self and reconnect to that energy that is overtop all of us, that's where I find a lot of power, because there's a lot of potent potential there for creativity and innovation, ingenuity, empathy, and connection. And so that is my personal experience of spirituality and the practices around it. And I'm really grateful to be hearing the different perspectives on spirituality through this panel and this talk today. So thank you.
Thank you, Liz. I really liked your expansive outlook with the community and how you grow with that into the spirit. So thank you for joining us and sharing your wonderful journey.
Thank you.
And look forward to more.
Thank you.
And next panelist, Adolfo, is already here. So welcome, Adolfo.
Hello, Sachin.
So look forward to what you have to share with us.
Thank you. Thank you, Sachin. Thank you so much, everybody, for having me here today. Spirituality, that was something that I'm going to share a quote, actually, to start. And this I found a few weeks ago when I gave a talk to a group of students, that the meaning of life is to find your gift. The purpose of life is to give it away. That was by Pablo Picasso. That to me defines my spiritual wellness. Something I've been practicing, although I didn't know it, for over 20 years as a counselor in college, right? my journey with spiritual wellness really came together in the last 11 years after I was diagnosed with cancer, where I put it all together. Before that, working in academia, I took a lot of classes, but I was searching for religion and but not really finding the spiritual wellness within it. But once it came together 11 years ago, it really shifted my view and what I can do. And that came about after I found it through yoga, where it's all about, as Iru eloquently put it, what we give, what we know, we give. The love, the integration of the mind, body, and spirit aligning. That to me has been the spiritual wellness that I was searching for. And I, when I was once I embraced it, it just made it so much easier, because I didn't have to go to a church. I didn't have to go somewhere specific to find that spirituality. I can go anywhere. As Liz mentioned, it is a personal relationship we have, with ourselves, with a higher being, a creator, and collective. Because what we know, we give, we share, and that's the collective part. And with the saying here, the meaning of life is to find your gift. My gift is sharing, providing information, education, teaching, and the purpose is to give it away. I cannot hold it, just to myself, the collective. And so, there's a saying: the more we know, the more we owe, and that goes to the different communities, and that's what feeds my soul, and I live by those morals and guidelines, to share as much as I can, and to live in kindness and in love. So.
Thank you, Adolfo. That's very powerful. I really like the quote you said. And I read it a long time ago, and it reminded me that the beauty of things, and all the three panelists re-emphasize the meaning of love, community, and sharing the gift of what we have with everyone. So thank you to all of you three. You really created a wonderful channel for us to think and, enhance this path of the spiritual wellness. So now we invite our guest speaker, Rosalind White. Rosalind has been with us for a while, and she participated with us in the past before. So here is Rosalind's information. So Rosalind is currently in the director position at the retreat center called as Udian, and also affiliated with Ratnaling. She has been teaching spiritual wellness classes and meditation and sacred art. She does wonderful art for last over 25 years or so. Then the depth and breadth of the Tibetan teachings have had profound influence on her life, and it inspired her to share her knowledge in order to help others to find the beauty and purpose in their lives. Her goal is that in your time with her, you will get in touch with a stiller, deeper part of yourself and gain a sense of health and balance. So welcome, Rosalind, to the platform, and we are looking forward to do the practice and hear your ideas.
Well, thank you to everybody from Cracking the Wellness Code for inviting me, and to our wonderful speakers who spoke so eloquently already about the spiritual healing. I've been part of the Tibetan Buddhist tradition since I was in college and met a Tibetan Buddhist teacher many years ago. And so it's been a wonderful influence in my life, and I really enjoy sharing it as much as I can, the teachings from our tradition with others. And in the Tibetan Buddhism, there's a very strong tradition of spiritual practice as a foundation for healing. So of course they use herbs, and they use some kind of similar to acupuncture techniques, moxibustion with the heat on the needles. But they really consider the most important is the spiritual practice. And there's even 7 different healing Buddhas, and then there's a mantra that one can learn for that to really help heal. So today we're going to just start with some simple practices that help us to meditate, because meditation is really one of the most important ways of getting in touch with our inner wisdom, which then helps to us to be able to act with compassion. And as many of the other speakers have said, that's kind of one of the key factors of spiritual wellness is getting in touch with our inner strength, and then offering what we can, what our gifts are to the world. So there's this cycle of giving that's very important. So there's a few slides we have to look at, and then we're gonna do a few different practices that help us to relax in order to be able to meditate more easily. So these are the key practices for finding spiritual wellness. And the 2 kind of basic aspects of this are developing wisdom and compassion. So we could go on to the next slide. Great, thank you. So wisdom is when we can listen to the teachings, we reflect on them, and most importantly is when we can meditate on them. And that is just a way for us to really internalize and get in touch with our deepest inner self, which has a very powerful way of cleansing and healing our psyche, our minds, and that in turn helps our bodies to relax, and that in turn helps us to heal. So meditation is very important, and it helps us to see the insubstantiality of our physical world. We sometimes get so involved and think that this body is real, and our problems are real, and the problems in the world are very real. But sometimes if we can kind of take a step back and just have a little bit of a different perspective, we see that this is all just like an illusion. All of the dramas of our lives are really like an illusion or like a dream, and that we don't have to necessarily follow them and believe in them and play along with them. Of course, we have to care for our families and care for ourselves, our bodies. There's some physical realities, of course, we have to do, but we don't have to be so caught up and so attached, to those realities. We can kind of open up our awareness and have a little bit of space between the drama of life and our kind of deep inner wisdom. The next slide, please. So when we have that perspective, it allows us to act with more compassion. And so compassion is caring for the suffering of others and doing what we can to alleviate it. So as Adolfo mentioned, it's that wonderful quote from Pablo Picasso. It's like taking the gifts that we have, that we've been given, and then sharing those with the world. So I'm an artist, so for me it means, creating beautiful works of art as much as I can. For someone like Sachin, he's a wonderful doctor. It's like, giving healing practices to people. And so it's whatever gift we have, and it's just sharing it as openly as we can. Sometimes I like to think about it as like a fruit tree, maybe apple tree. Its nature is just to, bear fruit and make the fruit available to those that are hungry. And so if we can look at it like that, we don't have to maybe be so attached to our ego, or worry about, oh, what do people think of me, or am I giving correctly? But we're just giving, as much as we can. We just give with our life, our gifts, and share our gifts. So that's my view of what compassion means and how it can help to heal us. So let's go to the next slide, please. So this is a mantra. In the Tibetan tradition, there's many different mantras. And this is the mantra for Shakyamuni, who lived in India about 2,500 years ago. And this is a beautiful statue of him, which is located in the stupa at Bodh Gaya, which is the place where the Buddha became enlightened. So this is a mantra you can practice on your own if you'd like. It's Om Muni Muni Mahamuni Shakyamuni Ye Soha. And if you'd like, and this one helps us to develop our wisdom. And if you'd like to practice mantras, you can go on YouTube and find many wonderful the Tibetan mantras, and you can find this one being chanted, and sometimes they have beautiful music with them. So I recommend that. But today we're going to do just very simple Om Ahom mantra. Next slide, please. So practice. One nice thing to do is to develop our wisdom and compassion is to do some meditation each day, and then also maybe write in a journal or do some reflection on your kind of getting in touch with your inner strength and how you want to share that with the world. So these are things that can make a big difference. And even if you can only find like 10 minutes, 10 minutes of meditation is actually quite powerful, because for some reason, and we can go into it, but it's an integration of your rational mind and your unconscious mind, your body, your mind, and your spirit. There's an integration that happens when we meditate, even if we don't think we're doing it right or well. We have lots of thoughts or whatever, but at least we've sat there silently and with an attempt to focus our minds. And it has a very strong power to it. Sometimes they talk about like putting a drop of ink in a bowl of water. It can transform the color of the water completely, even just one little drop. So in the same way, even meditating for a short period of time each day can really help transform our consciousness, our awareness, and make a big difference in our life. So now we're going to actually do a few practices that can help us to meditate a little more easily. And this slide has some resources for classes that you might be interested in taking, especially now with COVID. We have a lot of offerings online. So please, check those out, and perhaps Sachin and Song can send these links to people afterwards so that you can follow up if you'd like. So now we're going to do a couple of standing exercises. So the first one is a Tibetan yoga called Kumne, And this particular exercise is called flying. So if you have the space where you are, go ahead and stand up, and you want to have your hands by your sides, palms facing your body. And we're going to just very slowly lift our arms up. And I can almost imagine as though they're floating up by themselves. You're not making a big effort. You're just letting your arms float up. You want to keep your palms facing outward. Backs of the hands come together overhead. And then give a nice stretch up towards the sky, towards the ceiling. Feel your feet firmly planted on the ground. Take a deep breath and slowly let it out as the arms slowly come back down to your sides. And this is a nice exercise because when you're working with your arms, you're kind of in touch with the heart chakra, and you're opening your heart chakra. And that's important for compassion. It also helps relieve tension in your shoulders and neck, especially if you do a lot of computer work. So let's go ahead and do this 2 more times. Slowly lifting the arms. And let your breathing become nice and deep and calm. And once the arms are overhead, give a nice stretch up towards the sky. Feet really planted on the earth so you can feel a nice stretch through the whole spine. Take in a nice deep breath and then slowly let it out as your arms slowly come down to your sides. And one final time, arms floating up from your sides. If you'd like, you can imagine yourself as a bird flying through the sky, free from the confines of gravity holding you to the earth and all your problems. Just rising above all your problems and worries. Nice stretch up towards the sky. Deep breath into the belly and opening the chest. And slowly let the arms come back down to your sides. If you like, you can just kind of shake out a little bit, let go of any tension you might have in your neck, your shoulders, your chest, your arms, your legs. Shake out. Let all your muscles kind of relax and fall into their natural alignment. So next we're going to do what's called slow walking. And this is a part of a lot of the Buddhist traditions. A lot of the monks in Southeast Asia do this practice. So you're going to just have your feet at least hip distance apart, because when you're walking this slow, you can lose your balance a little bit. And if you have room to walk around in a little circle, that's nice. But if you don't, you can just do it in place too, walk in place. So you want to first lift one foot, maybe your right foot first, and then set down heel, and then the ball of the foot, and then the toe. And then lift the heel, ball, toe of your left foot, and then set it down, heel, ball, toe. So that's just an example of the speed at which we're walking. So it's very slow. And I think I'm just going to walk in place so that you can hear me a little better. So we're going to just continue this slow walking, heel, ball, toe, and heel, ball, toe, the next foot. And as we do this walking practice, we want to let our senses be really open and relaxed, so that we can start first with the eyes and just let our gaze be kind of gentle and open, so that we can see the colors and the shapes around us. But we're not too concerned with what the objects mean or what their relationship with us is. We're just kind of appreciating the fact that we have this wonderful sense of sight that allows us to experience our world in such a wonderful way, see the beauty of all the creations of the world. And we can also focus on our hearing, so that we can hear all the subtle sounds that are going on in our world. There might be some birds singing in the background, maybe some traffic. That's okay. We can accept that as part of life, maybe part of the beauty of life. Almost think of it as music. Maybe we have some kids squawking in the background. That can also be seen as part of the beautiful music of life, if we can kind of open our senses and relax and just take in what's coming without judging it too much, thinking about it too much. And same with our sense of smell. We can be aware of any subtle scents that there are in our environment. And also our sense of taste. We may not be aware of that usually, except when we're eating or drinking something, but there's kind of a subtle scent or sense of taste in the mouth that's just there naturally, the kind of natural pH of the body. We can be aware of what that's like. And then finally, our sense of touch. We have that throughout our whole body, through our skin. So you might be aware of the cloth of the clothing you're wearing rubbing against your skin as you move. You might be aware of the breeze in the room, just the movement of air on your skin. And again, just being very open and sensitive to what sensations are coming in through our sense of touch, and just appreciating it. It's the one way we can experience our world, when we hug our children or our parents, we've got the wonderful sensation of feelings that we have for our loved one, our spouses. So again, this sense of feeling that we have is a really wonderful way that we have of experiencing our world. So as we've kind of slowed down with the slow walking, we've also kind of gotten in touch with all the wonderful aspects of our senses and how they can really heal us and relax us. This is some nice training we can think of and practice to kind of decompress. Sometimes our senses are just kind of bombarded by the internet or TV, with the images we see and the sounds we hear. So this is a way to just let the senses of the body relax and move into a different realm for us, a realm that relaxes us and soothes us and nurtures us rather than bombarding us. So let's go ahead and sit back down and we're going to do one more practice. And this is a practice that involves chanting and gestures. So in Tibetan, we call this mudras. That may be a Sanskrit word, so some of you are probably familiar with that. So we're going to start with our hands on our knees. Sorry, you can't quite see me. Adjust this a little bit so you can see a little better. So hands on the knees for Om, and then hands in the lap for Ah, which is the left hand under the right, Om Ah, and then for Hum, our hands are outstretched in a gesture of giving. So the first two are gestures of meditation, and then the last is a gesture of giving. And we're going to be chanting Om Ah Hum. So these are called seed syllables or mantras, and they kind of have a way of kind of compressing the energy of the universe into these sounds. And also just chanting is a very nice way of calming the body and the mind. Our breath, it connects with our breath and our voice. And it's especially modern day Western people that are very stressed out. Mantra can be really helpful for calming the mind and helping us to get ready for meditation. So we're going to chant just 3 times Om Ah Hum, and then we're going to sit silently. And I'll guide us a little bit at the beginning of the meditation, and then we'll just have a few minutes of silent meditation. Om Ah Hum. Om Ah Hum. Om Ah Hum. So let's just sit with either our hands on our knees, or you could, if you prefer, your hands in your lap with the left under the right. And you want your back to be straight as possible. And if you're sitting in a chair, which you probably are, you can just have your feet planted firmly on the ground. You don't want to necessarily have your legs crossed or feet crossed. Just have your feet firmly on the ground, giving you kind of a nice solid base of support for your body. And if you'd like, you can tuck your chin in slightly. That helps straighten the back of the neck. That helps give the back spine a nice straight position. And so this is a really nice position for meditating. Or if you prefer, you can sit on the floor, on a cushion, cross-legged. And when we meditate, we want our breathing to be as deep and as calm as possible. So nice deep breaths into the belly. And you can think of breathing in nice, fresh, clean energy, and breathing out any stale air, any stale thoughts, any worries, any fears. So breathing in life, breathing out fear, worry, confusion, any negative qualities. And if you'd like, you can either close your eyes or have your eyes focused on the ground about 3 feet in front of you, and just a very gentle kind of open gaze. So we'll just meditate for a short time, giving you a chance to just taste the beautiful taste of relaxation in your mind and your body. And if you'd like, you can curl your tongue so that the tip touches the top of the palate. And that allows you to breathe evenly through your nose and mouth at the same time. Okay, so then to conclude our meditation practice, we're going to chant Om Ahum once more. And as we do this, let's dedicate the benefit of our practice to all beings, all sentient beings. The Tibetans talk about all sentient beings. That means not only human beings, but all of the beings in the animal realm as well, insects included. And this is a way of just kind of letting go, so we're not grasping onto the benefit of this for ourselves, for our egos, but we're just, whatever benefit has come from this practice, we just want to generously give it. Om.
That's fabulous, Rosalind. So what a great way to end our series of sessions for Wellness Support Group for this year, 2021. And a lot more to look forward in the new year. The very high energy and powerful transformation, and a lot of things to take back with us with inspiring ideas on this path of the spiritual wellness. Anyone from the panelists or Rosalind, what will be one key part takeaway for people to endorse the new year and start the new year with a great note and expand onto their spiritual journeys and wellness?
Well, I would just suggest to try to find a few minutes each day to meditate, even if it's just 5 or 10 minutes, and then notice what kind of transformation it has in your life. And sometimes, some days you may just only be thinking the whole time or worrying, but still there's a cumulative effect. So I just like to encourage people to do that, no matter what kind of meditation you like to do. It's transcendental meditation or whatever part of your religious practice, but just some form of meditation each day can be very transformative. So it might be a good New Year's resolution to make.
Very nice. Thank you. How to address the worry over the variants through the pandemic? Anything you have insights for?
Sure. This, of course, is such a stressful time throughout our whole world. And so I think the best antidote we can do is to meditate and keep ourselves balanced. So, sometimes we feel like we have to read all the news every day, all the time, but sometimes it's nice to just give ourselves a break from it too. And when we have meditation retreats, our teacher says, don't even look at the news. It's like the world can go on without you, without you paying attention to it. So, you might want to just try that, give yourself a little bit of break. Or if you want to check the news each day, maybe fine, you can check it, but you don't have to spend so much time following all the, terrible details of what's going on in the world. And it's not to say that we're, putting blinders on or, not wanting to pay attention to the suffering of the world, but we can do it in a way that doesn't necessarily agitate ourselves. We can keep ourselves strong and balanced. So then we can kind of give more generously and more usefully to the world when we can stay balanced ourselves. So that would be the main thing I think I would emphasize, is that we have to stay balanced and in touch with our heart and in touch with our inner wisdom. And then from there, we're going to want to act compassionately. So, from there, maybe we see where we want to donate some money. There's so much suffering in India. A couple of our sister organizations are really supporting the poor people in India. And of course, we've got poor people in this country too that are suffering, they're homeless and not having enough to eat. So, whatever we can do, even if it's just a little effort, sending a check to a local food bank or helping out however we can with people that are suffering from this pandemic, I think it makes a difference.
Very nicely said. Thank you so much. So very practical, simple answer, and it actually kind of says the same thing what all we've been discussed is the gift of giving and caring for each other and share and experience their pain and also support them through that time, because it can be one of us also part of it. So thank you so much, and this is wonderful, and we'll see you all again, and have a great day. So, thank you.